Hey everyone, welcome back to the watch list. When James Gandolfini, the man behind the iconic Tony Soprano, collapsed in a Rome hotel room in June of 2013, the world mourned the loss of one of television's most powerful actors. But in the hours that followed, as the details of his sudden death emerged, another story began to surface. One that sounded more like a scene from The Sopranos than real life. A story about a Rolex. To understand this story, it helps to know who James Gandolfini was. When The Sopranos premiered in 1999, Gandolfini brought a new kind of realism to television. His portrayal of Tony Soprano, a mob boss struggling to balance family life, business, and personal demons, felt raw and human in a way audiences hadn't seen before. He wasn't the typical Hollywood leading man, but his performance made Tony Soprano one of the most iconic characters in TV history. And in The Sopranos, Tony's watch said just as much about his character as his dialogue did. He was most often seen wearing a Rolex Day-Date President in yellow gold, paired with his iconic open collar shirts and pinky ring, the ultimate symbol of old-school power and success. The President wasn't just a watch, it was a statement. It told the world that Tony had arrived, that he was the man who commanded respect. But here's where things get really interesting. Because while Tony Soprano, the character, wore a Rolex Day-Date, the man behind the character, James Gandolfini, wore a Rolex too. And the story of that Rolex would end in one of the strangest mysteries in modern watch lore. On June 19, 2013, Gandolfini was staying at the Boscolo Exadra Hotel in Rome. He'd been there with his son Michael, preparing to attend the Taormina Film Festival in Sicily. That evening, after a day of sightseeing and dining, Gandolfini suffered a massive heart attack. Paramedics were called immediately, among them Claudio Bellavacqua, a Roman EMT. In the chaos of the emergency response, Gandolfini was rushed to Policlinico Umberto Hospital. He was pronounced dead at just 51 years old. But later, when the actor's belongings were returned, something was missing. According to reports from Italian police and outlets like The Hollywood Reporter and Global News, Gandolfini was wearing a Rolex Submariner, one of the most iconic watches ever made. Since Gandolfini passed away in 2013, it's safe to assume he's wearing the then current model. The Submariner date reference 116610LN. Italian authorities opened an investigation after his family noticed the disappearance. The finger quickly pointed to Bevilacqua, who had been part of the ambulance crew. Prosecutors accused him of stealing the Rolex during the emergency response, either from Gandolfini's wrist or later from the hotel room. The press swarmed the story. Headlines like "Paramedic who treated James Gandolfini on trial for stealing his watch" ran around the world. By 2016, Bevilacqua was formally put on trial. The missing watch had never been recovered, and no hard evidence tied him to the theft beyond opportunity and timing. Some Italian outlets later reported that by 2018, the court concluded "il fatto non sussiste." The fact does not exist. Essentially, he was acquitted because the court couldn't find sufficient evidence that a crime had even occurred. And that's where the trail ends. To this day, no one knows if it was actually stolen, misplaced, or quietly recovered and kept private by Gandolfini's estate. But in a strange way, it almost feels fitting, like something straight out of The Sopranos. A loose end, an unanswered question, a story that fades to black before you get the full truth. The kind of ending that makes you sit in silence, staring at the screen, wondering what really happened. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for checking out the watch list.